Hello guys, Foxdrop here, bringing you another commentary, another jungle commentary today. This one was sent in from the guy from Vietnam. Thank you for sending me your commentary. As always, if you want me to do one of your replays, send me an email to foxdrop@gmail.com. Sorry, I just destroyed my mic a little bit there. Yeah, send me an email and we'll get around to hopefully doing one of your commentaries. Though, of course, I can't promise anything at all, unfortunately. Anyway, this game is a Jungle Rengar game. It's about, I think currently 1100 elo. I think that's what he said, but he was 1300 season 2. So it's around 1300 elo. Now Rengar is a really interesting champion because he's actually kind of been, I don't quite know how to put it, but basically a lot has happened to Rengar. Like when he was released, I really enjoyed playing him. I thought he was really good. I thought he had a really good kit. Sorry, I have to change Fog of War. I always forget Fog of War. I thought he was really good, but apparently the community branded him as trash tier, and so he received like pretty much a hotfix buff, and it put him completely over the top, way broken. I mean, his kit is kind of broken anyway as it is. So anyway, long story short, he's in a weird place right now, as in no one's really sure. I'm not sure whether he's like too nerfed or anything like that. I'm a bit afraid to touch him because I don't know whether he's currently viable, and I don't know whether if he is viable, whether he'll just get nerfed into the ground. He's a very volatile champion with Morello's nerf bat. So, but regardless, talking about the actual game here, Rengar jungle, he decided to start a blue buff. His enemy jungler is Nocturne, so Nocturne's actually kind of hard to invade because he's actually really strong at like one-on-oneing, and so Rengar could be in a bit of trouble. Rengar started with his Q, which I believe is the right choice. If you use it as an auto-attack reset, then the attack speed and that attack reset mean that you actually clear pretty quickly early, especially single target damage, and of course like early on while you're level 1 clearing out the buffs. That's what it's all about. Now he's actually going for an invade here, which is really interesting. He's leveled up his W second. He's I'm not quite sure why he walked that way round. He could kill this guy though. Oh, yeah. That was a good invade. I I would say that it was actually a bit odd. Like he can do his red buff here if he's still got his smite, which he does. So that's pretty smart, though he's got no fury, so he might not actually be able to do this because he's going to get killed by red most likely. We'll see whether he actually dies. Oh, he gets it. Okay, that was really close, but that was a good job. This was a really smart play. I mean, when Rengar has full fury, he does so much spike damage with his Q, especially early on, and Nocturne just didn't realize that and just got owned by it. Although I would personally, if I were Rengar, if I were going to invade, I would run. Okay, Fiddle's killing this cast. But if I were Rengar, I would have ran up and around here, and then across here, and then down and around here. Because that way, like the way he ran, Nocturne knew he was there, and if Nocturne had any brains, Nocturne wouldn't have stayed there and tried to fight him. I mean, it was good that Rengar was there, but he shouldn't have been able to get off. He shouldn't have been able to get away with that at all. Like Nocturne should have seen him and ran away, basically. So it was kind of a weird pathing. It was a very odd invade, actually. It worked out really well. It was a good decision. Those kind of aggressive plays are really good. I mean, if you kill a jungler early, you really set him behind quite a lot, especially if you take away his blue buff when he's Nocturne. Nocturne kind of needs that blue buff early to jungle, so he can use his Q to jungle pretty fast, else he's going to be a bit slower, and if he does go to gank, then he's going to use a lot of mana ganking, and that means he's not going to be able to use his mana on the jungle, so he's going to be slower. If he wants to gank, then he's going to be slower in the jungle, because he's not going to have a lot of mana. Now, item builds, he's got a tier 1 boots and mad reds. I think this is okay. Back before the new jungle changes, I would not have even bothered with the wriggles or mad reds just because I went Doran's Blaze, because he didn't need it. He had enough sustain from his W. You just like went a lot of damage, but mad reds is a good choice with the new jungle, I think, considering how it's kind of changed a little bit. It's really cheap. so it's a good item. He's maxing his Q, which I when I first started playing Rengar, this is actually a really good gank. This is something that this kind of gank where you aggressively flash. I mean, it's quite early into the game. We're now 518, 519, 520. Like aggressively flashing for those kind of kills is really good. I mean, so far this guy has played pretty phenomenally. Like this is the best he could be doing right now. Getting those kind of ganks are just awesome, especially when when your laner has so much CC, and like if you have a decent amount of CC, like Rengar doesn't actually have a lot, but his bowler shot, whatever it's called, is pretty decent. When you've got a decent amount of CC, you can actually kill people really close to their tower, and they don't even realize it. So people think they're safe. You flash, you get off your CC, and they're not safe at all. And those kind of kills are really good. I mean, it's not just the enemies who think that they're safe, but it's actually like you who thinks the enemy is safe when they're not necessarily. So if you can actually recognize those opportunities, then it's like that kill is just really good by Rengar. Now a bit about his Rengar's jungle mechanics. He's probably like basically he doesn't want to waste his fury. Definitely doesn't want to use his fury on his E when he's clearing the jungle. He probably wants to use it on his W for sustain. Maybe his Q if he wants to take something away quickly. Like if he's counter jungling. Like right now he should have jumped on this Cass. He should have, as soon as when Cass planted that ward, he should have jumped on her face. But he's warded blue buff because he wants to steal it away. He knows that blue's going to spawn about 7-10, and Nocturne's top, so he should be able to get this blue without any problem. This is pretty smart by Rengar. Like he bought the ward so that he could ward the blue. Now he was a bit slow getting out this bush here. I mean, he blew a summoner, like the summoner heal, which was okay, but I think he could have been a bit quicker coming out of that. But I think he should have killed this Cass here. And right now he should probably be going up to this blue, because I think he could probably get it for free. They definitely should be trying some kind of aggressive play right now, because if Fiddle uses his ult, like when he's if they have a fight and Fiddle wants to ult, then Fiddle they're gonna win this fight big time. So I think they should be looking towards doing something like that. Now the fact that we are this far in, we're now at 7:34, and he's not attempting any buffs. Kind of okay. Here we go. This is right. I'll talk about something else a bit. We'll see what happens here. Fiddle just ults over this wall, and he's going to destroy this Nocturne. Rengar should have been waiting in this bush in my. Oh, Nocturne ain't even dead. What happened to Nocturne? Oh no. Yeah, there we go. That was really. Oh my goodness. No way. Oh no, that was so unlucky. That was kind of unlucky twice. I think Rengar should have waited in this bush for Cassiopeia. He should have killed it earlier, like when I was saying when he went bot instead. But he should have waited in this bush because he could pretty much just chunk that Cass pretty hard. Although having said that, he may have just like instantly died like he did then. So I'm not. I think he didn't exactly play that poorly. I think that is very lucky for Nocturne to have escaped. He must have spell shielded the Fear, in which case it's actually kind of a bad play on Fiddle's behalf to not kind of like wait it out a little bit. But it was decent. That was decent. They stole away the blue buff. They like destroyed that Nocturne who had to blow his flash. Cassiopeia died, although she did take out Rengar, but it could have been a lot worse. Rengar's playing very aggressively here, which is something which I like seeing. When you're ahead, then just play aggressive. I mean, this is really good. Like he's not even bothering with his blue buff because he's trying to go aggressive on this Nocturne. Because look, Nocturne is level 4, so there's not much he can do about it. But he needs to be careful. Like he can't. Like Lee Sin sees Rengar, and so Rengar can't. It's like he can't escape with his ulti because Lee Sin sees invisible. And what he did here was he was stealthed, and then he needed to escape, so he leapt back onto Cassiopeia, who was like at the back of everyone, which was a really smart play actually. It saved his life. I mean, this guy is actually playing really well. I mean, I don't want to sing his praises so much. I don't want you guys to think like I'm favoritism or anything, but he's honestly, this guy has played a pretty perfect game, and he's thinking about things, which is the most important thing. This guy is, I mean, it's a skill when you're, he seems to be able to, like, in, like, not really stressful situations, but in situations where a lot's happening, like team fights or just fighting in general. This guy is just, he just in general is thinking things through. He's doing stuff with purpose. He's not doing things randomly or coasting around the map. He's thinking about what he wants to do. Like when he goes back, like he bought a ward when he went back because he knew that he wanted to ward that red buff because he knew Nocturne would be on it. I mean, over here when they were stealing off this blue buff, he actually left his Wraith camp. He killed the big Wraith and then left it because he knew he needed to get over there, which is something which I personally kind of struggle with. Like I'm actually pretty bad at just I'll keep farming stuff rather than leaving it. Like what he did was the right thing to do. Like if you see an opportunity where you need to go somewhere, then you go somewhere. You don't need to keep farming your jungle or anything like that at all. You just go somewhere, which is really good. I mean, it's actually weird. I mean, there's usually a lot of stuff I can say early game where people can be improving, but this guy is he's doing a lot of stuff which is really good. I mean, he's just creating so many opportunities with his item build. He bought this bone tooth necklace, which I think is a pretty cool build. Because it's not as good as it used to be because it doesn't give you that 10 flat damage anymore. I don't think. No, it just gives you damage per level. But he's being aggressive and he's gonna get stacks on his necklace. So I think that's a smart decision. And now he's got this non-magic mantle, which might mean that he's going for merc trades. He may be getting an Aegis. Either one would be a good item to buy. When you're playing Jungle Rengar, you just want to be tanky, to be honest. I mean, the whole reason, like, Rengar got Flavor of the Month. Well, he's been like really popular since his release, basically, pretty much anyway. But he got even more popular just like recently with the recent events that happened. And what people were doing was that they were just buying tank items on him. Like they'd get like I don't know, like a Spirit Visage, they'd get Guardian Angels and like a Sunfire Cape or something like, and an Aegis or something like that, and they just like Rengar just has really good base stats. He does a lot of damage just on his own. Like he doesn't need damage items, and so people just bought a tank on him. And so you want to be doing that basically when you're playing Jungle Rengar, just getting tank items, because that way you're going to be as useful as you possibly can be. I mean, looking at his team, they've got a Nunu who's going to be okay. Sivir's top, which is really odd. This Lee Sin might be dead. Flashing while you're invisible is always good, but he's just killed himself here, I think. Yeah. Well, at least he got a kill. But as I was saying, I mean, he doesn't really need to fill out any other role apart from being a tank. Olaf's gonna have a lot of damage. Olaf is just such a he just carry dives. I mean, he doesn't need damage either, but he just does so much damage. I mean, if Olaf has a lot of health, then his W gives him a lot of AD. If Olaf is low on health, as in like, currently he's on low health, then his passive kicks in and he attacks really quickly. He's impossible with CC, so Olaf is going to have a lot of damage. Nunu's going to be supporting this Ashe, this Olaf, this Rengar to an extent, so they're all going to have increased damage regardless. Like they don't need the items because they're getting a lot of damage anyway. And so he just needs to be basically just getting a tank. Long story short, this guy should just be building tank. As far as runes and masteries go for Rengar, I'll put them in the description because this is a really random spot for me to mention them. But I think 921 is what I would go, getting the armor pen in offense and then just going like full tank in defense. And runes I would get. I think you can just run a flat AD page, but again you can get some armor pen in there. You can probably get move speed quints. But I think as long as it's kind of fairly offensive, because that way you give yourself the best chance early. Like you saw how much damage this guy did to Nocturne. He ripped him a new one early on with his Q. And if you just have like offensive runes, then or just like a lot of AD, then you're going to be able to, it just helps with stuff like that. So you want to be tanky, but that's really in your build. Your runes and masteries, you can be fairly aggressive choices. Now, his team, looking at the gold, they're actually fairly even. Although, as like from this Rengar's point of view, he's 2-2-3. So I mean, he's not playing. Well, his score is not amazing, but I think he's playing better than his score. But and one of those deaths was just like suiciding top to get a kill, so that's not like a big issue or anything. But I mean, he started off so well, and he's kind of not really done anything recently. I think his I'm not really sure why it is, but maybe I mean, Fiddle in the middle is kind of like a troll pick. I think Fiddle has lost a lot of his pressure. Like he had a lot of pressure early, but he's kind of lost that pressure, and now there are 4 top, which means these guys should be doing drag right here. 100% they should be doing drag. Nunu's really good at doing drag because he'll just eat it. That's if he's leveled up consume. He might not have. He has leveled up consume, so that Nunu can just eat dragon. Rengar's auto attack reset. Auto attack resets are really good for taking down dragon because dragon has an attack speed slow, so any auto attack resets that your character has ignores like the attack speed debuff. So that helps as well, and it's going to help like with his Mad Reg procs. And Nunu's Blood Boil, like he'll Blood Boil Ash, he'll eat it. They'll just basically they should have done drag. They would have taken it down really easily, but instead what they did was Rengar didn't really do anything mid because Sivir teleported. And now I'll admit I didn't know that this Sivir had teleport, and it's not something that if you're pushing down a tower, you don't press tab and see does that AD carry have teleport up? That's not something you think about. So I think he's excused for thinking he could get some more damage off onto that tower, but still, at the end of the day, they should have done dragon. People seem to be fairly not scared, but they just don't really like recognize when they could be doing like, objectives like Baron and stuff like that. But at least bot got a tower. They got 2 towers, so it's not that bad. But this is okay. Here's a bit of a team fight starting. But Rengar's like engaged preemptively, and so his team isn't really around to help him. Now, I think it will be 5v4 anyway, so this is kind of bad. But I mean, this is kind of where Rengar struggles a little bit. Unless you've got a lot of health, then you're really squishy when you're playing Rengar. He's completed his wriggles, which I don't personally think he needs. He doesn't need their life still. Rengar just needs to be tanky right now. The enemy team is actually doing a lot of damage. They're starting to group up, and whereas blue team had a lot of pressure early, they're still quite far ahead. I mean, they're like 3k. Okay, now they're only like 2k gold ahead, but they're still a lot stronger than the enemy team. So really, they should probably be trying to do stuff, just forcing fights or something. But they're kind of like split and stuff like that. They're getting low for no real reason. And they're just not really focusing anymore. Like I was saying earlier, this Rengar was doing everything with purpose. He was thinking things through. He was playing really, really well. But I mean, it seems as though he's kind of lost that. He's not really he's not. He doesn't seem to be doing anything with purpose. I mean, his whole team is not doing anything with purpose. They're getting fed, but they're not doing anything. And like this dragon's been up for so long, and it's like no one really cares that it's even up. No one really knows what to do about it. They don't really care. I mean, I suppose this is kind of like tales of like lower reload, where people just kind of ignore objectives a lot. But I think like this guy should be his team should have a bit more interest in this kind of thing, because like I say, when you're ahead, you just need to be doing stuff to put yourself further ahead or to be closing out the game. Even though it seems a lot it seems pretty early to be closing out a game. We are like 19 minutes in roughly. And, a lot of games are lost like 10 minutes in. Like, imagine the amount of times that you've given up on a game. I know I certainly have felt like a game is useless. Just be like, 5 minutes in because someone's like died 3 or 4 times. It doesn't mean you give up on the game, obviously, but you know what I'm talking about with that feeling where, this game's over. I mean, we're 90 minutes in, and considering the start this guy had, I think they could have snowballed and made more of an opportunity to kind of close this game out a little bit. But this Olaf is getting very strong, and that's really bad news for the enemy team. He's 4-0 and he's got 100 CS. The enemy carries are going to get destroyed. I mean, Cassiopeia especially. One of the reasons Cassiopeia fell out of favour is because she has nothing to protect herself. Like, Cass can ult and use her W slow. Like, her W slow is a bit meh, but her ult is pretty good. Although, like, you can whiff your ult, which would be really bad, but Olaf just doesn't care. Olaf will just put his ult on, and you can't CC him. This could actually be really good. Like, their team fighting, Rengar isn't really anywhere near, but they could possibly do Baron here, or at least bait it, or take a tower. There are their two options. Good grief, English is hard. Like, take towers or bait Baron, and instead it looks like they're trying to tower dive, or... See, I don't think he should be taking red buff right here. I mean, it's good to steal away red buff, but there's like when your team is fighting and stuff, when there's stuff to be doing, don't bother stealing a buff. It's a bit of a, it's a bad time to be stealing a buff. And now, like, so they kind of just, like, they got something good top, and then they just pissed it all away. And this guy needs to be really, really careful that Cass doesn't turn around, ult him, and one-shot him. And look at that. Look, I would say call me Mayan, but and that apparently they're not very good at calling things anymore. It looks like I'm like Mayan 2.0. I'll be like the apocalypse, calling the end of the world. At least I called the end of the world for this Rengar right here. I'll just zoom in on him so we all know that Rengar, your world is over. That's it for you. For 14 seconds. If only real life had 14-second respawn timers. But I mean, this is the thing, like. Cassiopeia just like 100 to 1. That guy, he doesn't even have that good a build. But I mean, he's not tanky. That's it. That's it. Basically, he's not tanky. He needs health. He needs magic resist. He needs something. And now he's bought a giant spell, which is good. He's got more health. But this game is slipping away. Well, I say it's slipping away from the blue team, but I mean, looking at the gold values, they're now 4k gold ahead, which was double what they were when I like last mentioned it. So I'm not sure. It looks as though this blue team, it looked past tense like they were winning pretty hard, and then it looked like they were kind of like, now it looks like they're playing sloppy, falling behind, but actually gold wise they're not doing so bad. But this is there's not a lot has really happened, to the extent that they're just kind of coasting through the game. They're not really doing too much. I think Olaf is spending a lot of time top, and now finally the teams have decided that Dragon's worth fighting over, and they're attempting to do it. But this could be really good for Rengar's team. They've got some good wards set up, which is awesome. Warding is always really good. When you're chasing people through bushes, this is where Rengar is just the ultimate predator. He just hunts people down. Like that Sivir had no chance of escaping with Rengar near a bush. So now they're going to get this free dragon. Honestly, if this... there's an invisible tile away from me. That smite was poor though. When you're taking objectives, you need to last hit with smite. If you don't, then you could get stolen. And this was just like a really good team fight. Fiddle got a really good ult off, and then it was just mop up time for everyone else. Nunu did a really nice ult as well to slow everyone in the Fiddle ult, although I do think Nunu actually kind of ulted a bit too late, so that may not have actually happened. But I mean, in theory, that was pretty good. And then, this was the thing, like, this blue team could have done this like 10 minutes ago. They should have been creating these opportunities ages ago. They should have been trying to end the game, and now they did get this team fight, this good opportunity, this good win. Look at what they're doing. They're pushing down an inhib when they weren't really doing anything at all. If anything, they were kind of pissing this game away. And even like me saying these guys should be doing dragon or something like that, just because you might think to yourself, well, yeah, they can do dragon, but 190 gold for each character, like what 1k, 1k gold for your team. It doesn't really, that's not going to win you the game. It's like, well, no, dragons, like 50% of the dragon is important. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of a way to word this. It's not, dragon is important in itself, but when you take dragon, you force dragon fights, and especially when you're ahead, if you're forcing these fights, people always try to defend a dragon when they can't defend it. It's like the bane of solo queue, where people just think, we can't let them get this free dragon, guys, we have to defend it, and then they just put themselves in like some horrendous horrendous fight position. Poor Rengar's gonna die here. He just like he was trying to defend that tower too much. He should have let that tower go, then he wouldn't have died. But Zolaf doesn't want to use his ult, or it's an up. Okay, his ult's not up. But now they're just gonna chase. This is an awful Ashe arrow, and I have no idea how that hit anyone. But whatever, they all count. But I mean, like I was saying, sorry, people just try to defend objectives way too much, and that's exactly what happened. Red team was like, the enemy team was like, let's defend dragon, let's do dragon. Oh no, we can't let the enemy team do it. And then they just like ace them because, you know, they couldn't defend it, but they still try to defend it. Why? I have no idea why people do this. I'm sorry, I can't enlighten you on that. There are certain things I can't enlighten you about. Women is one of them, and why people want to overly defend objectives is another. If anyone could enlighten me on those, actually, I'll subscribe to your YouTube channel. But it's just you're creating opportunity. Aggression, you know, when you're forcing things, you're making things happen, you're creating opportunities. That's why aggressive play in lane, or just in general, aggressive plays, create like stuff happen. If you're not being aggressive, then nothing happens. I mean, it's not like it's not coincidence that when you're playing pussy or just not doing anything or just not bothering to do anything, it's no coincidence that nothing happens around you. You know, if you're not doing anything, then nothing's going to happen. I know that sounds really obvious and kind of, I don't know, but I don't really know how to put it, but like, I know that it might sound like stupid me saying it, but, you know, think about it. If you're not doing anything, then nothing's going to happen. So the more you do stuff, and by that I mean like be aggressive plays, then, you know, you're creating opportunities. And when you're ahead and you're creating opportunities, the more likely you are to come out on top of those opportunities, which is really good. And that's how you close out games. That's how you win games. Now, quickly, just like a random point here. This pink ward is bad. He should have put this pink ward in the like, I don't know, like the doorway. I don't know, like the entrance to Baron Pit, because then, like, if you have a look, this pink ward sees nothing at the back, right? If the Rengar's team wanted to do Baron right here, and the enemy team were like standing up here or something defending, which is like a common position, if they were to chuck wards over, this pink ward wouldn't see that ward and they wouldn't be able to stomp it. And it's the same in Dragon. You want to put it in the doorway. That's so wrong. But that's because, you know, if it's out here, you know, just out in the river randomly, then people will chuck them over the wall, and your pink ward won't see it, and so you won't be able to stomp the ward, and then effectively you just wasted that pink ward. But this looks like it's working out, because like right here, that pink ward. Oh, where's the ward gone? Oh, where is it? We've got a pink ward here. Why can't we see it? Well, your pink ward's in a crap position. That's what it is. This is smart as well by Rengar. Yeah, this is like, you know, if you can catch people off guard when you're going to win a fight, just like that, and that is really good. Forcing that fight, and Ashe arrow is kind of why Ashe is so good, because that's what she does, and she does it better than anyone else with her arrow. But Rengar with his ult, he can do it too, where he just chases people down and he'll engage a fight, he'll force a fight. And they're actually poking these people down really hard right now, which is awesome, because when you're poking, it means they can't defend. Their excuse me, their bot lane is pushing really hard because they've already taken down the inhib. So, I mean, they're just scared. I mean, this is going to be the end of the game, really, because the stars have aligned as far as it goes for the final push kind of thing. They took Baron, which again, opportunities to win the game. They could have done that ages ago, but they took Baron, and then they just thought, fuck it, we'll push, and they pushed, and the game is pretty much over. So this game started off as like really good. I was genuinely sitting here thinking, is this guy putting my thing, like, is he having me on? This isn't a 1300 game. Is this guy just trying to test me, where I'm just going to be sitting here? He's trying to test to see whether I make up crap when I do these commentaries by saying things like, oh yeah, he should be doing this, he should be doing this, when actually this guy's like 4k elo. But as the game went on, you know, he was just a bit inconsistent in his skill. Like Rengar actually played fairly well, and like I say, needed to get tanky, and he bought a Warmog, so obviously he could hear me, he listened to me. And that's the end of the game. So GG to Rengar's team there. Good victory. But yeah, they should have like won that game earlier. Obviously, I say this quite a lot actually. When people win games, they probably should have won earlier. But he kind of like lost focus a little bit. I think he just need to like keep on the ball and stuff like that. But anywho, that was the end of this commentary. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you find it useful as always. This was sent in to me by the guy from Vietnam, so thank you for sending me your replay. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.